in Pharmaceuticals in association with Higher Secondary Principals Forum.
Hello students, I welcome you all for this Prudent lecture series. Today we are going to learn a very interesting chapter titled Globalization from 12th Political Science syllabus. This is the last chapter from the textbook Contemporary World Politics, and it has 4 marks for the board exam. So in this particular topic, we are going to study these subtopics. First, we will try to understand the meaning or the concept of globalization. Then we will see various causes or the reasons which led to globalization. We will also see political, economic and cultural consequences of globalization. And at the end, we will try to see the impact of globalization on India and Indians. So, to understand the concept of globalization in simple form, I would like to give you all 2 examples from your textbook. Now, in example 1, you can see there is a person named Janardhan who works in a call center. He leaves late in the evening for work, becomes John when he enters his office, acquires a new accent and speaks a different language to communicate with his clients who are living 1,000 miles away. So in this example, you can see that Janardhan is rendering his services to foreign clients. So there is flow of services from one place to another across the globe. Now in example 2, there is one person named Ramdhari who has gone shopping to buy a birthday gift for his 9-year-old daughter. He buys a cycle for her which is actually manufactured in China but is being marketed in India. It meets his requirements of quality as well as affordability. Last year, Ramdhari on his daughter's insistence had bought her a Barbie doll which was originally manufactured in the US but was being sold in India. So in this example, you can see flow of goods from one country to another. So this is basically globalization. So here you can see different kinds of goods which always flow from one part to other part of the world. Globalization as a concept fundamentally deals with flows. Flow is an act of moving. So globalization is a flow of ideas, goods, services, capital and people. Now these goods indicates flow. Okay, these are the various goods which are imported or exported across the world. As you all know, even in India we import mobiles from China because they are cheaper or affordable, and we also export many things to other parts of the world. These are some of the international brands which we use in day-to-day life. Some of the luxurious cars which we do import from foreign countries. Now, as I have told you in example 1, this is flow of services. The people who are working in call centers, they render their services to people across the world. Now, there is also flow of capital from one place to another. Now, capital flows from one place to another for various purposes like for investment, trade, business, etc. Now, people also flow or move from one place to another in search of better livelihoods to different parts of the world. Now, you can see some of the Indian actors, they are going to Hollywood industries in search of better opportunities. As you all know, many Indians are working in Arab countries, they are working in USA, in Europe and many other parts of the world. So this is flow of people. So as you can see in this picture, this is a world map and the arrows, they indicate the flow of goods, commodities, people, services, ideas across the globe, and that's why it is called as globalization. It is a multi-dimensional concept. Now let us try to understand different reasons or causes of globalization. The most important cause of globalization is technology. The invention of telephone and telegraphs had brought people together. So these were used in olden days to communicate among people or to convey the messages. Today, it is internet and mobile phones which have removed every distance among people and among states. As you all know, on YouTube you can watch videos which are made by people across the world. Even you can get lot of content on YouTube. You can watch different kinds of videos. You can make your own videos. You can upload them. And then we have Facebook, we have Instagram. On Facebook you can make friends from different parts of the world. So this is about technology. We have WhatsApp, we have Gmail. So on this you can send messages to different people across the world within less time. Now the ability of ideas, capital, commodities and people to move more easily from one part of the world to another has been made possible largely by technological advances. Now as you can see in this picture, these are the various modes of transport which are used by people to move from one place to another. Even goods are moving from one place to another with the help of transport. So transport plays a very important role in globalization. Another factor is the realization among the people about the need of interconnectivity with the people of the world. Increasing consumerism and educational development are also responsible for the process of globalization. As you can see in this picture, there are various goods. So consumers have many choices in terms of goods. They can select as per their affordability and they can go for good quality. So this is basically consumerism. Now we will try to understand different consequences of globalization. We have political, economic and cultural consequences. So first we will see political consequences or the impact of globalization on state. Globalization results in erosion of state capacity, that is the ability of government to do what they do. State has withdrawn itself from welfare responsibilities. It is the market forces which play decisive role in taking the decisions about the welfare programs. Now here what happens because of globalization, the role of state becomes very less, becomes minimum, and there are other factors which play important role. Now even during this pandemic situation, many rich industrialists, private companies have come forward and rendered help to people besides government. The entry and the increased role of multinational companies all over the world leads to a reduction in the capacity of governments to take decisions on their own. At the same time, globalization does not always reduce state capacity. State continues to discharge its essential functions and concisely withdraws from certain domains from which it wishes to. With enhanced technologies available at the disposal of the state to collect information about its citizens, state has received a boost as a consequence of globalization. With this information, the state is better able to rule, not less able. Thus, states become more powerful than they were earlier as an outcome of the new technology. So because of globalization, we have negative as well as positive impact on state. We have seen that because of globalization, the role of state becomes less. At the same time, state becomes more powerful. Now let us try to understand what is the impact of globalization on economy and economic conditions across the globe. Now economic globalization involves greater economic flows like flow of goods, services, capital among different countries of the world. The restrictions imposed by different countries on allowing the imports of other countries have been reduced. So this has led to countries to trade among themselves, and this has led countries to trade with the other countries of the world. Similarly, the restrictions on movement of capital across countries have also been reduced. This has led to greater flow of capital among the countries. Investors in the rich countries can invest their money in countries other than their own, including developing countries where they get better returns. Now, international institutions like the IMF, that is International Monetary Fund, and WTO, that is World Trade Organization. So, both these organizations play a crucial and major role in determining economic policies across the globe. Globalization generates greater economic growth. So, there is increase in GDP of many countries. Greater trade among countries allows each economy to do what it does best. This would benefit the whole world. Like for example, whatever India produces in surplus, we can export it, and whatever we produce in whatever we have in deficit, we can import it from other countries. Now we will try to understand the cultural consequences of globalization. Due to flow of ideas, information, people and commodities, the culture of people is changing. Globalization affects us in our home, in what we eat, drink, wear, and indeed in what we think. There is dominance of Western culture, or rather I will say there is imposition of Western culture on the rest of the world. The popularity of a burger or blue jeans has lot to do with the powerful influence of the American way of life, and these we have already studied in chapter 3, US hegemony in world politics, the soft power of US which influences the whole world. Cultural consequences of globalization are not always negative. In fact, blue jeans can go well with khadi kurta. Even people from West have accepted Indian culture. Now, as you can see in these two pictures, there is a man and two girls. They are wearing blue jeans and a kurta, and I think this combination goes very well. Even you can see some foreigners, they are celebrating Indian festival of Holi. Even we have some foreigners in Indian attire. So, they have accepted the Indian culture. Now, let us see what impact globalization has on India and on Indians, and why there is opposition or resistance to globalization in India. In 1991, responding to a financial crisis and to the desire for higher rates of economic growth, India implemented globalization. Globalization had great impact on Indian economy. There is increase in employment, trade, foreign direct investment and standard of living. Access to new technology and improved ways of production from the more advanced countries has led to efficiency in the local industries. But still there is lot of resistance or opposition to globalization in India because of various reasons. Trade unions of industrial workforce as well as those representing farmers' interest have organized protest against the entry of multinationals. Globalization has increased competition in the Indian markets between the foreign companies and domestic industries. With the foreign goods being better than the Indian goods, the consumer preferred to buy the foreign goods. The patenting of certain plants like neem by American and European firms has also generated considerable opposition. Globalization has also led to westernization, like celebration of Valentine's Day, Friendship Day, etc. Now in this picture you can see that mostly the youths get affected by westernization. They get influenced by Western culture. Now as you all know, this was the way we used to greet each other by saying namaste. But now we have shifted from namaste to handshake. There is rise in divorce cases in India. So from joint family, from a family of 30 to 40 members, we have shifted to nuclear family. This is again the impact or influence of Western culture. So today in this chapter, we have studied the concept of globalization, various causes of globalization, then political, economic and cultural consequences of globalization and the impact of globalization on India. So out of all these topics, you can see that I have underlined these 4 subtopics because for this particular academic year, you all have to study only these 4 subtopics, that is concept of globalization, causes of globalization, political consequences and economic consequences. So this is the end of the chapter, and as I have told you earlier, the chapter has 4 marks, so there will be one question coming for the board exam for 4 marks from this particular chapter. So that's all for today's lecture. Thank you all.
Prudent Scholars, powered by Lupin Pharmaceuticals.